President of the Collectivité says we are not being cautious enough. 2 staff members at the prison have tested positive for COVID-19. And Prime Minister of St. Martin discusses the issue of the second and third tranches for St. Martin. Those are the headlines for Tuesday, August 18, 2020. Good evening, viewers. This is SXM Daily News. I am Valerie Van Putten, and thank you so much for joining me this evening. And as usual, we have a packed newscast for you, so let's get started. In our first story, St. Martin have not yet met the conditions of the second tranche of Corona loans previously issued and are therefore not yet eligible for the third tranche. That was decided on in the Kingdom Council of Ministers meeting on Friday, August the 14th. The CFT was again unable to establish that St. Martin has met the conditions for the second tranche of liquidity support. This means that no talks will be started with St. Martin about the provision of a third tranche of liquidity support at this time. If St. Martin still wants to have this conversation, the country will first have to demonstrate to the Council of Ministers via the CFT that all the conditions set for the second and third tranches have been met. The issue was put to the Honorable Prime Minister of St. Martin, Sylvania Jacobs, on Tuesday morning during the program, The Breakfast Lounge with Lady Grace.
It is clear to me that it is continuing to be a divide and conquer situation from that side of the Atlantic. We have had many discussions, our finance ministry with the CFT, and they continue to have a difference of opinion on the way the calculations were being made. So it is clear now that the CFT advice will be followed directly and completely without any discussion with St. Martin from the Dutch government side. And so St. Martin will have to ensure that the calculations meet the requirements as the Dutch require, and our finance minister is working on that. What is sad is that within the steps of the letter that has been sent by the state secretary, the impression is created that the other 2 islands are getting their funds. That is still not going to be the case unless all countries that agree to the Reappointment, the proposal that was made on July 10th, in the way it was made. And that is clear if one gets a hold of the letter. Aruba has done so much and still has not received a cent either. Curacao has also, according to them, not met all of their requirements, but is given until the 1st of September to do so. St. Martin has to meet with the CFT, and once it meets the requirements for the cuts, etc., then they will discuss whether St. Martin still has a need for finances. It's 3 completely different things that are being said for the 3 countries, and for me, that is unacceptable. We will continue. We made a proposal in the Kingdom Council of Ministers last Friday, and it was not even, no attention was paid to it. And this is what our parliament mandated. And if we look clearly at the other countries, all 3 parliaments are standing firm. And even as governments negotiate and try to negotiate with the Dutch government, we do not have a mandate to continue with that Reappointment as has been proposed. So the Dutch continue to make that take it or leave it stance in terms of all 3 countries. So our finance minister is finalizing what needs to be done for the finalization of the second tranche discussion. And then hopefully they will look seriously at our proposal at that point.
And in other news, 2 staff members at the prison have tested positive for COVID-19. The personnel have had no direct contact with inmates and therefore poses no immediate threat to prisoners. Additionally, according to the Honorable Minister with Responsibility for Justice, Anna Richardson, management of the prison has launched their contingency plan of acquiring more personnel in order to avoid any disruption of the House of Detention operations.
We do have 2 staff members that have indeed tested positive for COVID-19, and the situation is under control because, as I see, these staff members were not within the facility as they have been home taking precautionary measures. So we're grateful for that, and we thank the staff for being considerate to not attend work and give any opportunity for the spread of the virus.
How will the absence of the staff members affect the operations at the prison?
I must say that with the new management that has come on board, they have been taking some really positive steps that has been motivating staff to return to work. And when we once upon a time had a very low turnout of staff members, I am really proud to say that many of the staff has been returning to work. So at this time, we don't have any concern too heavily on the ability to continue the operations as it needs to be at the prison. However, we are dealing with a world pandemic. This is a world issue. This is not a St. Martin issue. And we know that with this virus, it lives on surfaces. It's our responsibility as humans to ensure that we take all the precautionary measures in washing our hands and sanitizing, etc. As well as an organization, we will do the necessary to fumigate the building and provide the necessary for our staff to remain sanitized and in healthy conditions.
Many persons are concerned, Mister, that this might have a negative health impact on prisoners in general. What's been done to safeguard those persons housed at the Point Blanche prison?
Thank you for asking. Well, immediately what I would ask is for all persons who are directly connected in dealing with the inmates in any shape or form, take an approach of wanting to be a partner in the attempt to safeguard their health and well-being, as opposed to using opportunities to come at the prison or the minister in a negative format. But rather let us recognize that with this world pandemic that we are going through, as I said earlier, this is not a St. Martin issue. There are zero experts in this situation. And I think what we need to be able to do is recognize that the prison has taken steps, as we've put in the plexiglass, etc., when we resorted back to in-person visits. But considering the numbers are going up, the prison has taken the step to resume to Zoom meetings, online meetings. And we're asking, family members and even the attorneys to kindly cooperate with these measures, considering there is a across-the-board concern for the inmates. It just appears that every step that has been taken by prison management to safeguard the inmates has come up on some sort of trial or criticism, but the plea here is that we remove ourselves from creating unnecessary unrest and chaos between, but rather let's band together and recognize the efforts of the prison management to be able to safeguard the inmate and then that of the minister as well as the ministry. And this is taking place across the board. I mean, we have mentioned that even COVID has entered the establishment of our immigration department, customs, police. And so it is across the board that we need to now work together as a people and remove the chaos from the situation.
And as we bring you the new cases of the active COVID-19 cases on the island, as of August 17th, St. Martin has confirmed 9 new cases of persons who have tested positive for the coronavirus COVID-19. The new total of confirmed cases now stand at 326, 326. Of the active cases, the Collective Prevention Services, CPS, are monitoring 189 people in home isolation. The Minister of Public Health, Social Development and Labor, VSA, the Honorable Richard Panaflex, stated, we now have 202 active cases of persons who have contracted COVID-19. 11 patients are currently hospitalized and 2 patients are isolated and being monitored. The total number of deaths due to COVID-19 remains at 17. The number of people recovered since the first case surfaced on St. Martin is 107. 500 people are now in quarantine based on contact tracing investigations carried out by CPS of persons who may have been in contact with any of the active cases. Minister Panaflex continues to stress the importance of wearing your masks, practicing social distancing, avoid greeting by hugging and kissing, sanitize your hands as frequently as possible, wash your hands with soap, and refrain from mass gatherings. And still to come, First Vice President of the Collectivity talks about the upcoming tourist season. We'll have the details to that story and more when SXM Daily News returns.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
Welcome back, viewers. And as we continue now with more news for you this evening, the political platform Conferencia Permanente de Partidos de Americas Latina y el Caribe, COPAL, disapproves of the way in which the Kingdom government deals with Curaçao, Aruba, and St. Martin at the time of the corona crisis. The same applies to Bonaire, Saba, and St. Eustatius. In a letter to the Kingdom Council of Ministers dated the 13th of August, 2020, COPAL Chairman Alejandro Moreno Cardenas takes side with the islands in the conflict with the Netherlands. He is fiercely critical of the conditions set by the Kingdom government. According to Moreno Cardenas, the islands have seen at least 80% of their income disappear from tourism. The COPAL chairman says that the conditions imposed by the Netherlands are in violation of international treaties and historical agreements. This would amount to greater interference in the internal affairs of the islands. And now in news from French St. Martin, on August 3, 2020, President of the Collectivité, Mr. Daniel Gibbs, was a guest of local French TV personality Sham on his program Culture Conversations. Mr. Gibbs was speaking about the opening of the borders. According to the president, he said that we are not being cautious enough. We have to be very careful as to what we are letting in. President Gibbs also said that we have to put our health before the economy.
I believe that we are not enough precautionous in certain areas where we don't wear masks, where we don't do certain things. I think we should be, all of us, I include myself, we need to be more precautionous because we think we're out of it, but we are not out of it. The danger is still there. We can see it on the Dutch side. Mm-hmm. And this calls me on a cooperation with the Dutch side in terms of we have to be very careful with what we are letting in. I understand the issues with the economic side. We have one side where we have social benefits, chômage partiel that is helping, and on the Dutch side apparently they don't have all those mechanisms to put in place. But at the end of the day, Sham, I want to say what is more important, the economic life or the life of people. Exactly. And economic, you have economic life. So what part you prefer, the economic or the life? Both are important, but I think life is what we cherish more, because if you have no life, you don't care about economics. And this is what I'm trying to explain. It's okay to do certain things. We have to reopen. I agree for tourism, for turn the economy. I understand all that. But if that's to infect us before November, we will be killing our next season. So is the calculation not better to say, you know what, we still got 2 months to go. Let's suffer for those 2 months because we're in hurricane season anyway. Mm-hmm. So we're not going to lose much. So let's do like the others. We have August and September. September, we know this is the time everybody's scared, everybody's shutting up, everybody's,
I call it the corned beef season.
Exactly. Biscuit and sardine too? Oh.
That's the thing in the Dutch side.
That was just a little credit to my friend Prime Minister. Please forgive me. But you see those 2 months, and I know it's a hard decision for the Dutch side to take, but I think it's important to see what Sabre is doing what certain islands around are doing, which they are closed to traffic until the 1st of October. Why? Because the hurricane season will be passed. We open to the regional by making sure that, you know, you don't take in where the infection comes from.
Meanwhile, First Vice President of the Collectivité, Valerie Damaso, speaking on Culture Conversations last evening, August the 17th, 2020, the First Vice President, who is responsible for tourism on the northern side of the island, spoke of the upcoming tourist season. The First Vice President told the host, Sham, that the decision of not opening the borders is because the numbers are getting worse. But she understands why the Dutch side had to open, because the Dutch side does not get the social aid or the assistance like the French side does. She explains.
Again, first thing you need to know, and I hate using that term to say it is not our competencies. That's something that I know that we have to stop saying.
Yeah, that's
open.
It's
Exactly,
been repeated a lot. Yeah.
So
I
you
spoke
know,
to the president last week, and that's
So,
his view.
The thing is, we still have our opinion to give on it, okay, with the opening of our borders. Now, please don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about the internal border. I'm talking about the opening of the borders altogether. And the decision that we're taking back then to say no to the American clients for now was, of course, you just mentioned it, for the increase of COVID cases that we have. And as we see, it is getting worse and worse, and it keeps going on. Now, and I mentioned earlier that in this time that we're speaking, we're actually in low season. So in the discussions that we're having, we would probably bring across that, which is my belief, that our season begins in November. Risking having tourists coming in right now could hamper having a proper tourism season. Now, with that being said, I'm weighing my words, because if things continue increasing on a market that is our primary market,
which is the United States.
Exactly. So you can say, now I'm not receiving them, and these cases keep going up, and then in November you receive them, and then you're back to square one. You know, so the thing is, it's very challenging, and the one of the key things that we on the northern side have a very difficult situation with, because if you tell your counterparts on the Dutch side, keep your borders closed, I mean, they don't have the same social aids as us over here. They don't have the same assistance as us over here. Now, we have a meeting that is scheduled soon, and we will get a chance to discuss that firsthand. But your question to me as president of the tourism board and also first vice president, I mean, my first take was, September is where we know everybody get ready for the hurricane. Mm-hmm. Really, even though we know hurricane season starts in June. Yeah. I'm going to say, let's not risk it in the month of August. Let's play it out until we know the peak of the tourism season starts November, but people start coming in October. Now, it's easier said than done. But if, given my opinion, it will be down that line. Again, like I said, we have an exchange with our counterparts, and we will better assess the situation so we can move forward. Now, today, we're not open to the US, and we have X amount of cases that continue rising as we speak. And so you have to ask yourself the right questions at a given time. Some people are telling you, get ready, you will have to live with it, find a solution out of it, not live with it and continue the same actions that you did before. You have to be able to take into consideration all the measures, safety measures and so forth. But until then, we have to face the music and try to make the right decisions.
And while still on the program, the first vice president also touched on the unemployment on the northern side of the island and of the loss of jobs.
Unfortunately, Sham, that's a personal decision. Now, the only encouragement we can do on that end is with the businesses. That, okay, the tourism office is giving 100 euros on accommodation for 2 nights minimum stay. Please do not sell a product like you would sell it to a tourist at 500 euros a night. It makes no sense. Because even if they have to pay a difference, it would be difficult for any local to take advantage of it.
And I've heard of some advantage being taken to some people, even though they came with their vouchers. You hear of an extravagant price being added just to make up for their loss because they have that person coming in with that staycation voucher.
What we did is that, and what we're doing is every week there's a weekly meeting that goes on with the partners so we can evaluate it. I mean, my inbox is full, my WhatsApp is full, and this is the first time. So like I say, first of all, because I really want to answer to your question, it is difficult for me to look at Sham in his face and say, Sham, you lose your job, you're not sure if you're going to get back your job tomorrow, take the little money you have and do the staycation. Unfortunately, that will be a personal decision.
And get a French quarter and say, we can't do it like that.
So the only thing that could have came across is for us, like I say, to really work with the stakeholders, the partners, and tell them, try to make it as interesting as possible. What would it benefit a stakeholder, a business partner, to open his business today and sell it at the same price when you know that tourist is not coming in? Yeah. So all of that also, the tourism awareness was not only for the local population, but it was also for businesses. I'm going to show you something. We're on a territory where we have an open free border. People are telling me, I'm very grateful for the package that you and the tourism office put in place, but it's easier for me to take my money and just go do a staycation on the Dutch side.
Yeah, we've heard that.
You have to know that, again, the risk that businesses can take on the Dutch side is definitely not the one that a Frenchman can take. For the simple reason, with our social charges and the whole 9 yards, it's completely different. Our minimum wage, the whole 9 yards is different. However, I'm looking at you, President of the Tourism Office, you as a business owner. I'm going to tell you, if you're going to choose to open and keep your prices the same, I'm not saying to lower your quality, lower your standard or anything, but then why are you staying open?
And in more news out of French St. Martin, travel restrictions between French and Dutch St. Martin will be extended to September the 1st due to the upsurge in coronavirus cases on both sides of the island, the Prefecture announced on Friday. According to the latest health bulletin, the number of active COVID-19 cases has risen to 41 on French St. Martin and 8 in St. Bart's. The government of St. Martin has 144 active cases, of which 7 are hospitalized. According to the Prefecture, it is imperative that a collective effort be made to limit the spread of the virus as much as possible by limiting travel. This effort may be difficult today, but it is vital to preserve the 2020 tourist season. Movement between the French and Dutch sides of the island is therefore strictly limited to overriding family reasons such as death, health reasons relating to emergencies, medical transport, ambulances, and overriding professional reasons. These conditions will be checked on the basis of certificates already issued by the Prefecture. Medical requests can be made to the COVID-19 email address, which is pref, P-R-E-F, at saint-martin.gouv, G-O-U-V.fr. Authorized travelers arriving at the Princess Juliana International Airport from metropolitan France, the Schengen area, or the list of safe countries will be allowed to pass through the border by presenting their plane ticket, their PCR test of less than 72 hours with a negative result, and the certificate of honor given by the airline company or obtained on the Prefecture's website. Now, turning to our weather forecast for August 18th, 2020. The Atlantic high pressure ridge is supporting a relatively dry and stable atmosphere and brisk winds. Lingering Saharan dust will help to restrict rainfall across the local area. Meanwhile, a fast-moving strong tropical wave is generating unsettled weather over portions of the Windward and southern Leeward Islands. Moderate sea conditions can be expected for the next few days, with waves peaking up to 7 feet. Small craft operators and sea bathers should continue to exercise caution. So the outlook through Thursday midday, fair to partly cloudy, hazy and breezy with a few isolated showers possible. Now let's turn to your 3-day forecast. And still to come, the 9th Annual Station Sustainability Conference will not be taking place this year. And we'll have the details to that story and more when SXM Daily News returns.
Make use of Web Mobile Banking with easy access and direct usage of face recognition, PIN code, or fingerprint. Download WIB mobile banking app and make your transaction from anywhere at any time. For more information, visit wib-bank.net/quick-login.
And welcome back, viewers. You're watching SXM Daily News. And in this item out of the island of St. Eustatius, the 9th Annual Station Sustainability Conference will not be taking place this year. The annual seminar, which is hosted by the St. Eustatius Tourism Development Foundation, has been put off due to the COVID-19 virus. This year's event was slated to start on September the 27th. The director of the St. Eustatius Tourism Development Foundation, Charles Lindo, spoke to PGD2's news department.
Unfortunately, as you know, due to the current situation, not just on Statia, but worldwide, and let me just add this. To date, right now, as we speak, Statia is 0 cases registered right now on the island of COVID-19. So we are very happy and proud for that as well, along with a few other islands in the Caribbean. So I think that goes to show that things are really, people are really taking this thing serious. But back to the topic at hand, based on the situation, as I mentioned, we have figured that, this would not be something that could happen at this present moment. So the conference, of course, just like many other large events, have been pushed for, of course, hopefully next year, around the same time, when there would be more positive outcome when it comes to this particular pandemic. As you can see, over the past few months, the different events and activities have been pushed back, and some of them are even canceled, or you see events taking place that is being held virtually, like some of the major shows, the dive shows and the different expos and things like that. People are doing them virtually now, so you have a virtual booth. And this was something that we strongly considered, to do a virtual conference, but then at the end of the day, we were unable to factor it in properly, and there are a few things that is doing, so we wouldn't make the deadline. As you know, the deadline would have been for the 27th of September, which would be World Tourism Day.
Yeah.
However, unfortunately we would not make that date based on the different things that you need to put in place and put together, and making sure that everything is running properly.
And as we end this edition of SXM Daily News for this evening, in news out of the Netherlands, Gregory Damoun has been reappointed by the Council of Ministers of the Kingdom as of September the 1st, 2020, as a member of the Board of Financial Supervision, Curaçao and St. Martin, upon the proposal of Curaçao. The reappointment is effected by royal decree and is valid for a period of 3 years. Damoun has been a member of the CFT as of September 1st, 2017. He is currently Interim Chief Financial Officer, CFO, at the Development Bank of the Netherlands Antilles, Ontwikkelingsbank Nederlandse Antillen, OBNA. Previously, he was Deputy Director, Risk and Compliance at the Central Bank of Curaçao and St. Martin, and prior to that, amongst others, Director of Finance for the Central Government of the former Netherlands Antilles. Gregory Damoun has a master's degree in accountancy. And with that, viewers, we've come to the end of this edition of SXM Daily News. I am Valerie Van Putten. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. And just a reminder that this and other programs are available online. Simply log on to stmartinmediacenter.com for viewing. And on behalf of the SXM Daily News team, we thank you for watching and plan on meeting you right back here again tomorrow.